Hello, fabulous Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of October 2014, General Focus. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This month we have a very important eclipse taking place in the first part of the month, and especially important for you. It is a lunar eclipse happening in a part of the sky for you that has to do with communication. Yes. It also has to do with running into the right person at the right time, really is what it comes down to. And it also has to do with talking, just talking, speaking, exchanging information, especially spontaneously. What's also happening that I think makes this eclipse very important for you is that this eclipse is taking place in partnership with, really with your ruling planet, with Uranus in the sky, and is speaking in supreme harmony and activating a very rare and fortunate configuration that we have right now called a grand trine in fire. And this is a configuration taking place between Uranus, currently in the same part of the sky that we will have this eclipse in the first half of the month, with Jupiter and with Mars as well. And this is fire after all. So there's an element here of passion. There's an element here of spontaneity. Now, when it is an eclipse, normally when we just have a full moon happening in this part of the sky, it does suggest more interactions with your neighbors, interactions with people as you go about your little errands that you do, and also more interactions possibly with siblings and cousins as well. It has to do with thinking about what skills you might want to brush up on, taking a few classes and things like that. Sometimes it has to do with sort of like the little workshops and little day lessons that you may go through just as part of making yourself a better person, updating skills, things like that, expanding your knowledge a little bit, but it's not the type of sort of dedicated expansion of mind that we see in other parts of the sky. This is much more about you getting in touch with your voice, understanding what your voice is and what it's going to be in the world, and then speaking your truth from that place. When we have a full moon in this part of the sky, it does tend to suggest an important time of looking at where maybe there have been any barriers, looking at the situation that has been, and understanding what has served its purpose, and now you can sort of put a close to it, now you can move on. So it can represent a time of communications and talks that allow you to feel that what needed to be said has been said. With an eclipse, the element of the potency of a particular full moon is heightened, and the element of surprise is also heightened as well. So the element of the chances for you to understand these different areas, to understand your siblings and cousins more, to talk it out, and to learn what it is that you need to brush up a little bit, can seem to just sort of come out of nowhere. Like literally you might get a chance to learn a skill literally by running into somebody in a hallway at your work, and you have a conversation and you realize that you've been sort of approaching a certain computer program from the wrong angle, and you get a little 3-minute tutorial, and that really could be it. That makes all the difference in your work. It can be that type of happenstance that takes place. However, we've also got Uranus involved in this, your ruling planet, which does suggest that it's not just about you getting a little tip on how you could be using a computer program better, but it really, a conversation now, an interaction now reaches right into the heart of you, reaches right into something very deep, into the core of you, and helps you understand who you are that much more deeply and what it is that you actually have to say. Now, there is a strong, fortunate configuration to this, and there's also a element to this that has to do with other people, so other people facilitating a lot of this growth for you. And I will talk about this more in the love-focused video. However, I do want to say that this can really be a time when it is a sibling or cousin or neighbor that opens up an important opportunity for you, especially where it comes to you being introduced to someone else, whether it's the right person at the right time or otherwise. This can be a time that allows that to happen. They can facilitate that alliance for you. Now, at the same time, I do want to say that with all this very fortunate energy occurring, the ultimate message here is about you perceiving things with a measure of clarity and confidence as well. You understanding that people ultimately, as much as your sign is very independent, it is people that can actually facilitate and uplift that level of independence and not necessarily impede that. And that is in the goals that you have in just about every area of your life. And I think also it might surprise you if you do spend some time with cousins, with siblings, with neighbors, that these are the very people that end up revealing to you just by them spontaneously sharing elements of their life. You end up having some very powerful realizations into who you are and what it is that you most desire to do next, what do you have to say, what do you desire to be. There is an element here of you tapping into some underused talents as well. And these people help facilitate that in some way. You have a lot more knowledge than you realize, but it's not just about knowledge, as I said, in the big sort of, meta kind of way, but rather it is skills. You know a lot more and you can do a lot more than you realize. And where it is that you can tap into more of that to create a life that more accurately represents who you know yourself to be at your very best, well, the universe is going to give you lots of chances to do just that.